Hello, I'm Hat, and welcome to All Hat No Cattle. Today we'll be looking at the third in a series of videos based on the You Can't Ask That TV show, this one entitled Muslims. You're going to hear a wide gamut of answers on this one, ranging from the extremely, oh, Muslims didn't do nothing, to absolute dead-on truth. The absolute dead-on truth comes at the end, so I encourage you to stick through this one. With that said, let's get to it.
How can you justify your treatment of women?
I can go on and on about that.
This is once again, that preconceived notion that Muslims somehow treat their women badly.
And how could anyone get that impression? I mean, look at this uplifting story. Shame of our child brides. Court hears how woman was raped and beaten, as it's revealed hundreds are forced into arranged and unregistered marriages across New South Wales. Okay, so maybe that's not as good a story. But how about this one? Child bride concerns triggers state government calls for inquiry. That's obviously nothing to do with anything. Isolated incident, I'm sure. I mean, why would a state government call for inquiry? It's just an isolated incident like this. Daughter succeeds in bid to avoid forced marriage in Pakistan. That's just one. So what that she had to sue the state in order to get emancipated from her parents in order to not be forced into this marriage? I mean, how bad can it really be? I mean, look at this. 14-year-old girl was forced into an Islamic marriage with a Western Sydney drug gang member who raped and beat her and later physically abused their daughter. Details of the now 25-year-old victim's ordeal surfaced in the Federal Circuit Court, where the victim was fighting to have the man banned from seeing their daughter. Yeah, maybe not as isolated. There is good news, however. The imam who married the pair, Riaz Tasawwar, was arrested by the police. That ought to stop things. I'm sure there aren't any other imams who are doing such horrendous and despicable acts.
Yeah, it perpetuates that stereotype that Muslim men are violent, misogynist.
Do I have to pull out the rape statistics from places like Sweden and Germany and other countries that have allowed pretty much unfettered Muslim immigration?
And that Muslim women don't have any agency and don't really have a say.
For God's sake, Muslims have elected female presidents.
This is a list of Muslim women who were heads of government or state at one time. This list is in chronological order, and as you can see, it doesn't start until 1988. So right there we have an idea of just how long it took to get women into Muslim politics. The prime member of this list is at the top, Benazir Bhutto, who was Prime Minister of Pakistan twice, once from 88 to 90, and again from 1993 to 1996. Her administrations were known mainly for their corruption. It was shown that at one time she had siphoned over $100 million worth of funds and property into a private account. Bhutto did not live on her spoils, however. She was readmitted to Pakistan in the 2000s. It did not do her well because in December of 2007 she was assassinated by Al-Qaeda after leaving a political rally. It seems that women politicians in the Muslim world aren't exactly as good a thing as our good friend here would like us to believe. You'll see next on the list Khalida Zia, and then below Turkey, Sheikh Hasina, both of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is mainly Muslim, but it has a secular government. The same with Turkey, and the same with every government listed as we go further down the list. One thing you should also notice is the length of time these women have been in office. Some less than a year. Not exactly showing it to the man.
Islam actually gave women rights 1400 years ago for voting, for ownership, land ownership, marriage. She does have a right to divorce.
Let's look at Islamic divorce, shall we? There are three types. There is divorce by an Islamic court, a talaq divorce, or a khula divorce. All three of these proceedings have one thing in common. The woman is at a disadvantage. In divorce by Islamic court, the woman has to rely on the judge for justice. He may decide she did not meet the requirements of the divorce. He may decide she does not deserve the amount of compensation or maintenance that she has requested. And he can certainly decide to pass on the divorce altogether and not grant it. And notice I keep saying he. You're not going to get a woman judge. In a talaq divorce, all a husband has to do is notify his wife 3 times that he is divorcing her. After the 3rd time, the divorce is final. The wife might be able to do the same if she included this provision in her marriage contract. The ability of a woman to push this through cannot be understated. Some countries, such as Kuwait, allow talaq by electronic means, such as a text or an email. And in the Kula divorce, this is a mutual divorce under Sharia law. And all the woman has to do is pay her husband to gain his permission to allow her out of the marriage. He decides what the payment is. It may be enough for the family just to return the dowry. Just. Remember, they paid him to marry her. Now they've got to buy her back. If the husband accepts the terms, the divorce can move on to court for tafriq.
As a Muslim man, I'm obliged to share my wealth with my wife and kids religiously, by faith. But if a woman works, then all her money is hers.
The husband has no right over her income, over her assets. It is solely for her.
And that's true. There's just one catch, though. The husband has to allow her to work. The wife cannot work outside of the house without his permission. There are also some rather strict guidelines as to whether or not she can have a job at all. The job has to be something akin to housework. In a few of the more westernized Muslim countries, such as Kuwait, women can work in pretty much any job. I know a woman who graduated from college and is now a geologist with a national oil concern in the Middle East. But that is the exception rather than the rule.
The proverb, I'll try to translate it, but they say that it's very rare to find a man that is not under his wife's thumb. So
imagine all the thumbs of these extra wives. These 2, 3, 4, 5 wives. That's a lot of fucking thumbs. But then again, he doesn't need wives. He can just get sex slaves.
I'm the boss at home.
Yeah. How can you justify your treatment of me?
And there are many, many verses in Quran which express equality between men and women.
our Prophet has said that paradise lies under the feet of the mother. The Prophet said the best person amongst you is that person that is good to his wife.
It's only in some countries where culture has made a difference, where women generally are treated badly.
And those societies are patriarchal. Whether they were Muslims or not, they would behave in exactly the same manner.
It was right there under my nose the entire time. It wasn't Islam. It wasn't Muhammad and his bullshit. It was patriarchy. Or patriarchy, or... yeah, that's what's been going on the entire time. Smash the patriarchy, and all women in Islam will be free. No more acid attacks. No more beheadings. They'll be free.
The idea of Islam subjugating women, I think, is wrong entirely. Islam doesn't subjugate women, men subjugate women.
Because they're not actually implementing the proper Islam, they're not getting their rights, there's forced marriages, honor killings, female circumcision. We can go into a heap of just, and a lot of it's got to do with culture.
It's misogyny, that's the common thread all around the world.
Wow. Muslims really are feminists. First the patriarchy, now misogyny. They're out to free the women of the world. And how could you not want to free women? Not when you give them this kind of ideology, not when you give them this kind of praise. This is from one of the hadiths, and this is considered one of the best parts of the hadiths. And it says, once Allah's messenger went out to the musalla, to offer the prayer of Eid al-Adha, or al-Fitr prayer. Then he passed by the women and said, O women, give alms, as I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you. They asked, Why is it so, Allah's messenger? He replied, You curse frequently and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. A cautious, sensible man could be led astray by some of you. The women asked, O Allah's messenger, what is deficient in our intelligence and religion? He said, Is not the evidence of 2 women equal to the witness of 1 man? They replied in the affirmative. He said, This is the deficiency in her intelligence. Isn't it true that a woman can neither pray nor fast during her menses? The women replied in the affirmative. He said, This is the deficiency in her religion. Yep, worldwide misogyny, folks. That's what's keeping the women in Islam down.
Rights in the West is what, 150 years old, and as late as 1960s or 50s, there were women rights movements. And unfortunately, Muslims have gone back. We had our enlightened ages when Europe was in dark ages, when women had rights. It's gone down the shit creek, and, we need to pull it out.
I told you there was some good old truth in coming up near the end, and there it is. But you know what? It gets even better.
Imams in particular, those who are preaching, who are running services, I think they do need to do more to promote women's rights and to promote equality.
Yes.
I think Islam needs to catch up to the modern world.
I want to slow clap right now, but it's 5:30 in the morning and my wife's asleep. I don't think she'd appreciate my waking her up just for dramatic effect. So please, keep the slow clap in your mind. Okay, enough of that. I really can't believe what I heard at the end there. These 2 guys really know what's going on. The other people, clueless. But we got 2 winners here. Maybe there's hope for Australian Muslims after all. The rest of Islam, that's a story for another day. But I don't hold out any hope. I'm afraid their time has come and gone. So that's it. Part 3 of You Can't Ask That Muslims is in the bag. Thank you all for watching. I don't know if I'm going to do another one yet. I have to look into it a little further. Either way, I've enjoyed doing these, and I hope you've liked watching them. Until next time, be well, and as always, thank you for your attention.